Are we live? It looks like we're live. Looks like we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Heat Check live beat review show coming to you right now live from YouTube. Also, TikTok, also Twitch. So, multi-streaming. Shout out to DMG already in the chat. Shout out to you, DMG. Glad to see you in here. Now, the reason I'm running a little late for all the people on TikTok is because I'm trying to get the TikTok chat to work. Unfortunately, it's not working right now. So if you are on TikTok and you are watching, shout out to you. Unfortunately, I cannot see the chat, but I'm going to try to log in again in a couple minutes. Hopefully, you'll start cooperating with me. But the show must go on. Got to show it for all the producers here. So, shout out to all the producers who submitted for this week's Heat Check. If you don't know, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Desmond A. I'm a music producer. I've been producing music for well over 12 years now and produced music on different networks such as E-Television, Bravo, Sci-Fi, different documentaries, and very important, working with all the very talented musicians, producers, and recording artists out here in the Atlanta area. It's very, very precious to my heart. So that's who I am, and that's why you should be checking me out right here on the Heat Check. Once again, shout out to the chat. So you might be wondering, what is the Heat Check and how exactly does it work? So here at the Heat Check, producers submit their beats between Friday and Friday at noon is where the free submissions stop. After that, Friday at noon Eastern time, that's when the free submissions stop. After that, if you'd like, you can, of course, purchase a VIP pass to skip the line and get your beats heard. This is a $10 VIP pass. But if that's not your thing, all you have to do is wait till the end of the stream. I go ahead and open up the form once again so you can submit your beats for next Friday's show. And you'll know that the form is open to submit your beats for next Friday's show. I just go ahead and make a YouTube community post alerting everyone. So if you are on Twitch, if you are on TikTok, make sure you follow me on YouTube because once again, this is a primarily YouTube-based show. And you can see that community post letting you know to post for next Friday show. So another thing, what are some of the ground rules here at the Heat Check? How exactly does it go? Can you just throw cones and your cups everywhere? And can you just kick your feet up and leave pizza boxes everywhere? No. We got some ground rules here at the Heat Check. So first thing here at the Heat Check, there's no roasting, no snapping. This is not a place to get your jollies off and kiki and giggle. You know what I'm saying? This is a place to help producers improve step by step. We're all here to improve. So if you hear something in a beat that you don't quite like, instead of saying, oh, that's whack or oh, that's trash. No, you say, hey, your melody is clashing a little bit. Try doing this. Or, man, those drums are weak. You're terrible. No. Those drums aren't quite hitting hard enough. Maybe you should try not compressing your master so much. Maybe you could try, using better headphones. We're going to give people actionable steps so that way they can improve as music producers because this is a journey. It is a marathon. It's not a foot race. No one jumps out the womb knowing how to cook up fire trap beats. At least nobody that I've met. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and switch scenes. Let me check out some of the other chats here really quickly. Let's see what's going on. Shout out to Twitch and of course shout out to TikTok. Still can't see the TikTok chat quite yet, but once I do, shout out to you guys as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get in FL Studio here. Now let's start from the top, tippy top. All right, here we go. Our first submission of the day is by Bangza the DJY with BDD2200P. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, and then we're going to go ahead and listen to this submission. So let's go ahead and take a listen together. Gentlemen, that was our first submission of the day by Bongza. All right, so shout out to you, Bongza, with the different groove you had going on there. All right, so what do I think of that beat? First, excuse me, let me make it clear that here on the heat check, we play roughly a minute and a half of each beat. So if you got all kinds of crazy drops and stuff going on later in the beat, try to truncate it and just do some quick edits and push it together so it gets to the point quicker on the heat check. All right, so Bongza, great groove. I'm really digging. I was digging the vibe. I'm digging the rhythm. I'm digging the bounce. It really felt like I was going somewhere. You know, it had the nice percussion loop, and I was feeling it, and I was getting to the groove. It threw me off once I started hearing that bass line. When I heard that bass line, it didn't quite capture me. As a matter of fact, I was expecting like a real big impact with a lot of nice Afrobeat guitars going on. I didn't get that. I like the musicality as we started to progress forward through the beat. I really like that. You play the keys on top of the synth and the bass, but I just wanted more impact to hit. It's like you might want to bring in like the keys a little bit earlier, because I don't know how many artists will sit there and let you get that far without them saying next. As a person who does record different recording artists, I know how short their attention spans can be. I mean, very short attention spans, ladies and gentlemen. So that's part of the reason why I only play a minute and a half, because, you know, these artists are doing like 5 different things at once. But if I can get for you to keep that percussion loop, keep those pianos, but I just want you to think more impact. Think getting to the point a bit quicker. If you have to sing to it, if you have to think of a different song that you enjoy, sing to it while you play the beat, and then start to craft the beat around the song that you're singing out loud. I don't care if you just na 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 na. I don't care if you're just doing something like that. Just keep doing that, and then add more instruments, more elements to it, and it's just gonna help you craft things a bit better. So good start, but I just want more a more powerful execution. So definitely has potential though. So shout out to you. Please continue to submit to the Heat Check, DesmondASounds.com/review, and I'll be glad to continue to review and help you on your music production journey. So shout out to you. Shout out to you. Guys, I need to also let it be known that I have free FL Studio Patcher plugins on my website, DesmondASounds.com. Make sure you go check those out. And I also have some crazy Afrobeat guitar loops, DesmondASounds.com. Go there to get those. Bangza, you may enjoy those as well. Have crazy musician that had played those Afrobeat guitars. So it's not clicked in or anything like that. Real musician, insane sense of melody. So make sure you guys go to DesmondASounds.com to check that out. All right. Moving forward, we have our next producer of the night, which is Prophet with Messy. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic. We're going to go ahead and listen to this submission by Prophet. All right. So let's go ahead and check this out together, family. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Prophet with Messy. All right. So thank you so much for submitting to the Heat Check, Prophet. Shout out to you. Shout out to that beat that you submitted this week. Now, the first thing I heard was in that beat, that first piano, I just want a better sounding piano. I want a piano that feels a bit more realistic. That one kind of felt a little too stock. So if I can get for you to possibly try something like Keyscape. Also, Omnisphere has a couple of really good piano sounds. I think that's going to help you out, because especially as the beat went on, I'm getting kind of a East Coast high energy vibe. And East Coast cats in their production, they have really high quality piano sounds because typically they're sampled. So if I can get for you to try to find a different piano sound, that's going to help you out a lot. I enjoy the groove. I enjoy the bounce. I can feel that if I had that beat in a recording studio with the big Augsburger speakers, I really feel like it would, it's going to have that nod factor. So shout out to you for that groove. I felt like there was a little bit of masking going on in that beat as far as the instruments and the piano and the bass. What I mean by masking is just like some of the elements are on top of each other and they're clouding things from being able to be heard clearly. So kind of getting your DAW and just kind of do a little bit of scooping out, just a little bit. When I say scooping out, I mean just a little bit, just a little dip. Just make sure everything is sitting in its own place. Don't over EQ, just a little bit. You just need to open up a little bit of space so the instruments can live. And other than that, one more thing that actually came in my head when I was listening to that beat is I feel like you could possibly try working with another producer as well, another producer who has a similar sound. And I want you two to collab and see what kind of music that you two can come up with. So I've personally just reached out to different producers on Instagram for collabs, or you can get on BeatStars and ask, hit up different people for collabs. You can listen to their music and y'all just split things 50-50. So you guys could definitely do that. All right. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat here on YouTube. We got Kuvo Beats. Shout out to Kuvo Beats. We have Chip Burger. And we have Jay Zo on the beat. Shout out to you, Jay Zo, on the beat. Glad to have everybody in the house tonight. All right. Looks like we're getting our feedback in the YouTube chat as well. So all the producers out there, make sure you come back to the playback and look at the live chat. All right. Let's see what's going on Twitch here. All right. All right. And once again, everyone on TikTok, can't quite see the chat yet. Gonna try to load it up again in a minute. But shout out to everybody on TikTok. Please just make your way over to YouTube if you can. YouTube.com/Desmond A Sounds. Make sure you check me out there. All right, Jay Zo. Yep, no submissions from you this week. Hopefully we get you on next week. Next week though, Jay Zo. Be glad to check out anything new that you're cooking up. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. Looks like we have a relatively busy night tonight, so I don't want to hold you guys up. So moving forward, we have Kidai with Crocodile. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to check this beat out. Let me go ahead and mute my mic and let's go ahead and check it out together. So let's listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was KD with Crocodile. All right, all right. Shout out to you, KD. Appreciate you for submitting to the Heat Check. Please continue to do so moving forward. Now, KD, musically, that's a great beat. If I played that song for a songwriter in the studio, I'd have no qualms, no issue. Hey, we have a 4 hour session, we have a 2 hour session, we have a 1 hour session. I know a song is going to be written. That's one of those beats that just has a wide open path, and I can just look at the songwriter and I know you're going to write something to this. So shout out to you for leaving all that space for a songwriter. Now, one of the main things with that beat, it felt like you made the beat, you did some mixing, but a part of me feels like you could do a little bit better on the mixing. And what I mean by that is get this beat and get another beat. In the same genre, we have like, let's say, a Burna Boy. You can find a Burna Boy instrumental. If you can't find the instrumental, you can get the full song and try to extract the vocal. I'm real big on trying to just listen to the beat without the vocals, but if you have to get the vocals, do that, but try to take out the vocals. Even if you have to do stem separation, try to do that. And what I want you to do is I want you to listen to how the engineer is separating the sounds and placing certain things back, certain things forward to create different types of contrast, just to keep the ear going, keep the ear wanting more, keep the ear, entertained, because this one just feels like it has more potential with a better mix. You don't have to go crazy and go become Jason Joshua or Mixed by Ali. You don't have to do all that. But just listen to how they're panning certain things. Listen to how certain things are just clicking a little bit harder. And then from there, listen to your beat and just add a little more life. Like, okay, I feel like this is a bit louder, or this is panned this way, and then this is panned this way. And it's just creating this type of groove. So listen to a beat from like a commercial song, or if there's a type beat, Afrobeat type beat producer out there that you really like, just take little tips. Again, don't go crazy. If a songwriter makes a song to this and an artist gets this song, of course it's gonna get professionally mixed and mastered. But just, we want more life, so it's like grabbing people and pulling them into this beat. So shout out to you. Great beat, and I'll be glad to review more tracks from you right here on the Heat Check. So shout out to you. All right. Nice. All right. Okay, J-Zo, yeah. We can, as soon as I make that YouTube community post, hopefully I can get something for you, and then we can play it on the next Heat Check. All right, some bass. There's no low end on Afrobeat, man. Chip Burger, I like those. Some of Burna Boy stuff has some decent low end. I will say that. I believe one of his engineers is is it Jesse Ray Ernster? He has some pretty good, decent low end, pretty good low end on the Afrobeat stuff he does with Burna Boy. Some of his mixes are, yeah. So check out Jesse Ray's mixes, and I believe Duro. There's another engineer named Duro. I like his mixes as well. Pretty good low end. All right, moving forward, we have DMG with Last Night. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic, and we're gonna go ahead and take a listen to this track. All right, let's go ahead and listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was DMG with Last Night. So shout out to you, DMG. Appreciate you for submitting that track. Please continue to submit on the Heat Check. All right. So, with that beat, I'm very familiar with that era of music. It's the era of music that I really, really grew up in, man. That Neptunes era. We had the Justin Timberlake Justified album. We had the Khalees era. We had all the produced by the Neptunes tracks I would look up online and just be blown away, man. So I'm familiar with that era, and I see the essence of the type of music that you're looking to capture. Now, for that particular beat, one thing I was feeling was that there was kind of like some masking going on. Once again, it's like there needed to be some separation between the elements of the instruments. At certain points, things started to feel like messy and cluttered in the beat. One thing I kind of feel like on that pad synth, I felt like the attack was a little too slow. So if I can get for you to make the attack come in quicker on the that pad, I think that's going to help with a little bit of the how things are feeling a little cluttered. Also, let's mess with, like, I just want more separation again. It's like everything just felt cluttered. And maybe try a little bit of panning. Maybe also try using some EQ to shelve off some sounds to make some sounds feel a little bit darker and have some sounds still be lighter. And even with the we can even play with panning. We could play with panning. We could play with a little bit of ping pong delay to kind of make things bounce around and play with the ears a little bit. You don't have to go full on mix engineer. That's not what I'm trying to tell you guys. Just these little itty bitty things are just going to help you create that separation. And as you do these little tips and tricks over and over again, it's going to become second nature. It's almost going to become like being in your DAW. You're just going to, pull up a pad, do certain things, know to shelve off a little bit in the EQ just so the high end isn't so much. We need to find ways to have separation so that way there's just a little more space for the vocalist and we can get pulled into the beat a bit more. Also, on top of that, this is kind of getting into the same thing of things being cluttered. I just felt like there were certain points where so many instruments were coming in at once that there was no like real focus instrument wise. So we need to have a focus instrument wise so things don't feel like it's just like we're just getting hit. Even though things sounded good musically, like technically I didn't hear any dissonance or anything out of key. It's just that we just need to find some like separation. So like let's have some space, if that makes sense. Hopefully that made sense. But yeah, shout out to you, DMG. I didn't mean that to. Oh yeah, shout out to you, Chip. Okay, that's what you meant. Okay, so Chip giving us feedback on the previous beat, the low end. Yeah, I did notice that as well. Okay. Let's see here. All right, DMG. We have another submission from you. Before we do that, I want to take a quick second here to shout out the Made in the Studio podcast. So make sure you guys check that out. You can find that anywhere that you can find podcasts. So that's on Spotify. It's on what else? Apple Podcasts. You can get there on Apple Podcast. And of course, right here on my YouTube channel, you can go ahead and check out the Made in the Studio podcast. The last episode was with a very talented producer named Darrell Banks. He also gave a lot of game on sound design and selling type beats. Excuse me. Selling type beats, because he's been doing it for a very long time. And he dropped a lot of gems on that episode, man. So you guys definitely want to check that out. Okay. So Moving forward, let's go ahead and check out the next submission here today of DMG. TikTok, sorry, I was just trying to log in while I was promoting the podcast. Still can't see the TikTok chat, but shout out to you guys on TikTok. Make sure you find your way over to YouTube. Second submission of the night by DMG. This one is called P Funk B Minor. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and check this one out. I guess this one's just P Funk. So we're gonna check this out and then give our feedback. Ladies and gentlemen, that was DMG with P Funk. Now I know why you named that one P Funk. So yeah, that beat again. I'm hearing like throwback vibes. Is that the new wave? I've been seeing different posts on Instagram by different people saying that that's the wave. You know, people want to get back into that kind of 2000s era vibes, and starting to notice that, you know, not just your submission but other people's submissions as well. So it's definitely refreshing because I'm very familiar with that era, and I even know some of the kits that some of those drums, well, like that snare, comes from. Don't want to show my age, but anyways, back to your beat. So yeah, once again, I was getting those throwback vibes. Great groove. I heard little pieces in there. You were able to get some real nice little feels and turnarounds, and not every producer knows how to do good turnarounds that are still musical. So you had the doom 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 doom, you know, with the 808. Did a really good job there. Felt very natural. Felt very like I don't felt very like in the studio beat. Now, this, of course, we all cook up on our laptops, but just kind of remind me of the era when people made beats on like MPCs, and you know they would jump on the Core Triton and play different stuff, and that's just kind of what I was getting from that. As far as feedback, as far as any type of feedback, there were certain points in the beat when more sounds came in where I was getting that cluttered feel, that everything is happening at once, but it's not, there's not enough space. We need to have certain things panned a little bit. Just everything just came at the same volume at once, and it's difficult to really have feel if we don't have any contrast there. So once again, kind of look into panning certain sounds, look into letting certain sounds sit back a little bit. This is one thing I like to do. This is something I really learned whenever I started working with recording artists and working with vocals. What you can do, if there's a sound that you really like and you want it to be tucked away in the beat, one thing you could do is you can pull the sound in the beat, pull, maybe it's like a little like the or just a small sound, a sound that's not super prominent, super important to the beat. You can pull the volume down of that sound and then compress it hard or even limit it. Whenever you do that, you make the sound more dense. You make the sound thicker. And then it just sits right there back of the mix. And that's something I learned whenever I was working with ad libs. A lot of a lot of artists, especially Atlanta artists, of course, like ad libs. And if you have some ad libs going on, everybody knows you're gonna limit those ad libs and pull them back, and then you're gonna do some panning on those ad libs so they're constantly audible. So you could do the same thing with the sound. You can limit a sound, let it sit in the back, and possibly even do some panning automation with it. So it's always audible, but it's not all the way up front, and it's like working as ear candy. And that creates a great contrast. So hopefully that explanation made sense, and you guys would just have to try that out to see if it works for you and your particular beat. So shout out to you, DMG, P-Funk, good beat. Just once again, we want to work on that cluttering. We want to get some contrast going on. Certain things need to be quiet, so certain things can be loud. Space things out with panning. That's just something you can get from just following these tips, or you can listen to bigger producers, professional final version, and then just do your best attempts to emulate some of the decisions that they do as far as panning and whatnot. So shout out to you, DMG. Thank you for submitting on the heat check, and hopefully I will see you again moving forward. All right. Now, for our next beat, we have TNJ with LD Demo. All right. Hopefully this is just an instrumental. If not, yeah, it looks like it should just be an instrumental by looking at the waveform. This is just a beat review show. All right. Yes. Just looking here on TikTok, man. I really wish the TikTok chat would cooperate for me, but it's not. So anybody on TikTok, I apologize. I'm thinking about almost taking it off because I don't know who could be talking to me on TikTok. Yeah, it's just flat out not working. That sucks. All right. Show must go on. Now, TNJ, LD Demo. Let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was TNJ with LD Demo. All right. TNJ. That beat, let me start by saying it. The beat started off strong. I kind of felt like we were going to go in some type of Ninth Wonder direction slash I want to say, what's his name, Danger Mouse. I thought we was gonna get some Ninth Wonder, Danger Mouse, kind of a fusion vibe. We didn't quite get that. As the beat started to progress, we kind of went in a lot of different directions in a way that just felt like kind of just putting stuff together. But it, it felt like you were kind of just trying different things out and putting things together. I will say that I did enjoy that variable tempo that you had there. At certain parts, the tempo would slow down, then it would get back, and it created this really nice groove. However, even though we did have that variable tempo, once we hit another spot, it felt like we hit a spot that didn't really have any real direction. It's like I heard music, some music, parts of the music I liked, the drums I liked, and then there would be like a loud horn, and it just kind of had a lot of different things going on at once. Another thing that stood out to me was that bass, that whatever bass line you had, just sounds like it was super. I don't know what was going on. It was super time stretched. I was hearing a lot of artifacts in my ears. I'm not sure what kind of sound that was, if that was like some type of sampled bass sound that came from you just stretching a bass sound really hard, but those artifacts were just really overbearing in that beat. We just had a lot going on, no real focus, and the arrangement kind of took us in a lot of different directions. And it did it in a way that didn't really necessarily feel like this was like an instrumental project. It kind of felt like you were just experimenting. So even if you're going to experiment, still try to find a focus. I understand the urge of having so many different sounds, so many different pieces of music that you want to put into a beat. We all go through that. But there's sophistication and simplicity even if you're going to experiment. So even though it does sound like you have experimental vibes going on, still find a focus. Listen to people like Flying Lotus, or other producers who do instrumental tracks who have an experimental vibe to it, and listen to how they simplify things. There's beauty in the chaos of what they're doing. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to shift what you're doing to get into that polished version, if that makes sense. So I want you to go out there. I want you to listen. I want you to study the type of producers that you're trying to ascend to, and take notes. Literally take notes, and just take notes of your mental Rolodex. Like I'm listening to how they're simplifying things and making things pretty and rough at certain parts, and then pretty again. And there's a real technique to doing something like that. Not everybody can do it, but I hear that you are okay with pushing the boundaries. We just need to polish it and put it in a format that's pleasing to the ears and not having so much going on at once. So continue to do the work, continue to grind, continue to study the greats, and you're going to be able to develop into that version. But stay consistent, don't give up, and eventually you can get there. So shout out to you. All right. Shout out to Neezeto, Nezeeto, in the chat. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Thank you for joining the Heat Check. All right. Moving forward, we have a pretty busy house tonight. Don't want to keep you guys, so we're going to move forward to Kuvo Beats with Underrated. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic. We're going to go ahead and check out this beat by Kuvo Beats. So let's go ahead and check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kuvo Beats with Underrated. Shout out to you, Kuvo Beats. Please continue to submit right here on the Heat Check. Now that beat was, I like that beat. I felt like that beat is not going to be a challenging beat to sell to the right artist. That's one of those beats that is just like, as long as it's arranged well, I know an artist is going to be able to make a song to it. So shout out to you. One thing that you were doing in there, and I used to do this myself, you have a kick that has a very good attack and punch. One thing you could do is you can add another kick that's slightly rounder, you might even, don't even have to have it right there on the C5. You can even push it down, just shift it down, different semitones on the piano roll. Just have a rounder kick with more body, and then just sit it behind that kick. So you have a kick with a lot of attack. You can have a kick just a little deeper, like a nice deep round kick to stack behind it. So that way you have the attack and the body. And when you do that, it's just gonna be more intense, more impact. And when you do that, when you have the attack with the kick and the attack with more body, make sure that you're using the knob to make sure that the kick doesn't ring out too long. Let me show you really quickly right here. I'll just find a random kick right here in my library. No. Okay. So I have this kick, right? That's not what I wanted to do. I have this kick here, right? C4. That's not. Okay. Can you guys hear that? Make sure you guys can hear that kick. Okay, you guys can hear that kick. Okay. So one thing that you could do, you can have another kick, and then as you stack that kick with another kick, truncate it so it doesn't ring out as much. I'm gonna make it shorter. See how it's ringing out now? We want to shorten it up. I would even make it even shorter. I don't want to get into Edison right now, but, and then you could pitch it down. It just has more body. If you stack a kick like that on your other kick, it's gonna just have it, make it hit the speakers a bit harder. And if it doesn't totally agree with the other kick, whenever you do that, you can also, I don't want to give you guys all my secrets. All right, you guys gonna I'll have to give that to you guys another time. Sheesh. Give you all the tricks of the trade. Maybe some other time. I'm gonna gatekeep the other trick. But that's really all you need. That's all you need. Just try to stack it with another kick and you'll be good to go. Anything else about the beat? Okay. So another thing in that beat was that Moog sound that you had. You know that Moog bass that we hear in a lot of the Young Boy songs and things like that. I heard it, but I didn't really feel it. It's like it was there, but it didn't quite. I didn't know if I wanted to keep it or not because the presence of it was kind of in the middle. It didn't know if it wanted to sit back in the beat, and it didn't know if it wanted to be present. So it was kind of in the middle in a space that I didn't quite know how to feel it. So with that Moog sound that you have, that Moog bass that you add, wah, wah, that sound, decide if you want to push it up to make it louder and more present, or if you just want to actually just totally mute it. So figure that out, rap to yourself, sing to yourself, and decide if you want to make it more present or just mute it. And if you just have more space in total for the artist to rap on it. But part of me feels like you're probably going to want to make it a bit more present, just have it more forward. But again, experiment with that. But yeah, other than that, felt it was pretty good. We could have added a bit more sub to the 808 as well. You can possibly experiment with other 808s that you have in your library, and let's see if it's just you can get more more aggressive low sub. But that's not super. That's not a super thing that you have to worry about. Just extra if you just want to add a little extra polish to it. So yeah, shout out to you, Kuvo Beats. Glad that you submitted on the heat check. And I'll be glad to review more tracks from you. So moving forward, looks like you have another submission of the night called Droplets. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this beat by Kuvo Beats. We're going to go ahead and mute my mic, and we're going to go ahead and listen together, family. So let's go ahead and listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kuvo Beats with Droplets right here on the Heat Check. Now, before I give my feedback, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit like and subscribe to this video, to this live stream, so I know that you're enjoying it and I know that I should continue doing the Heat Check. Also, make sure you join my Discord. The link is in the description. If you're right here on YouTube, Link in the description to my Discord. If you're not on YouTube, you're on Twitch or TikTok, make sure you go to Desmond A Sounds on Discord. You'll find me, a picture of me. Go ahead and join. We have lots of great stuff going on there on my Discord. Okay, now Kuvo Beats. That track, man, that track was a banger, man. And let me say thank you for being able to make a beat that hits hard without just totally distorting it. You know, man, it's been week after week after week after week that I've been having to hear so much digital distortion. I thought I was going crazy in certain times, man. But shout out to you. Your beat is loud, it's hitting, and then it's not all warped and on the top end with a bunch of broken up digital distortion, man. But sounds like you were able to accomplish it. You might be using a high quality limiter, which is what it sounds like you're doing, because you're able to control your dynamics really well. So it sounds like you're using a good limiter. That's what I think you're using. A good limiter or a good clipper. But shout out to you. It's going crazy hearing all that digital distortion. Okay. As far as feedback on this beat, man, that was a slam dunk beat, man. I really feel like if I played that in the studio for a recording artist, that's a lay down, man. All they need is a hook, and that's pretty much it, man. The only other type of feedback, only thing I was hearing, this is kind of nitpicky, is I kind of wanted like depth in your mix. You don't have to try to figure that out, but I just think about that, just a little more depth, a little bit more layers. So your drums were banging, that felt good, but just certain elements kind of felt like they could have been thicker, if that makes sense. Or we could have had a little bit of movement going on, a little bit of automation. So don't be afraid to explore a little bit of automation. You know, grab your knob and your DAW, experiment with that, have certain things moving, have certain things ping-ponging a little bit. So kind of explore some of your effects tools a little bit and see what kind of feels and what kind of vibes you can get from those. And that can kind of add to the depth of the instruments on top of the banging drums. So again, kind of nitpicky, but you know, giving you some extra feedback. So shout out to you, Kuvo Beats. Thank you for submitting. Make sure you continue to submit right here on the Heat Check. All right. Shout out to Project Launchpad. What's good? Shout out to Pierce and Gladstone. Shout out to you, giving some feedback. Oh, Kuvo Beats, you right here in the chat. My bad, man. I missed you, man. You right here in the chat. I wanted to sit back on the beat, but not too much. Okay. Sound like you were talking about the other beat. I feel you. Yeah, just keep experimenting, man. Don't ever get too comfortable. Just keep trying stuff out, man, and see how you feel about it. And also see how some of your friends feel about it. You know, if you have friends that always talk about people who freestyle and, you know, just do stuff like that. Sometimes you just need to catch a vibe. It's not always about selling a beat or getting somebody to make a song to a beat. Sometimes just get the homies around or an uncle around, just freestyling, that you can start to hear certain things in your instrumentals that can be changed. So yeah, you know, working with artists is it's a double-edged sword, I'll say that. But one thing about it is it makes your ears really sharp on picking sounds and leaving enough space. So shout out to you, Kuvo Beats. All right, moving forward, we have Music on the Beats with Giuliano and Music on the Beats Lab 1. Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and mute my mic, and we're going to go ahead and check out this beat from Music on the Beat. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Music on the Beat.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the first submission by Music on the Beats tonight, right here on the Heat Check. Now, Music on the Beats. I'm hearing a couple things there in that beat. First of all, let me say this. I can hear there's a certain energy that you're trying to convey with that beat. I'm like hearing like almost I'm hearing like Playboy Cardi. I'm seeing like tunnels. I'm seeing like darkness and like lights, like red lights going on. I can hear the energy that you're trying to convey. The thing is, we're trying to connect it to an execution that is more refined than what I'm hearing. So the first thing was like the drum pattern. I heard a lot of the skipping. I kind of felt like you were going in like a Cardo kind of direction with the kind of off kilter drum pattern that kind of it's correct and incorrect at the same time. I hear like a Cardo type of thing, kind of drum thing that you're trying to execute. Again, we just need the execution to be a bit better, a bit more polished. Right now, it's just unrefined and it feels a little bit scattered. But if I can get for you to just, as you keep working on polishing that, we can start to get into a direction where it feels like more of your signature sound, especially the fact that I can feel the energy that you're trying to convey. I feel like, again, the drum pattern was kind of trying to get into Cardo vibes. Also, the instrumentation, we need to find a focus because things, again, kind of felt scattered. We need to find a focus. Okay, let me pull these sounds back, and this is going to be the main sound. Let me just mute this sound, and this is going to be the main sound. And also, whenever you're making a beat like this or beats in general, try to freestyle on them. Try to, like, that's part of the reason why I mute my mic here on the Heat Check. I start to freestyle and I start to sing. I start to put myself in the position of a recording artist to see exactly where would I live on that beat. So let's work on polishing the drum pattern. Let's work on just tightening that up, polishing the drum pattern. Let's also work on polishing just getting the sounds to fit a bit better, or even working on your sound selection. Because a part of me feels like you could just go through a library and just start replacing sounds that are just higher quality as opposed to trying to mix them and get them to work. So you can even have similar textures, but we just want sounds that are just a bit, just a better selection to convey the energy. So keep working at it. You're kind of reminding me a bit of, I believe it was TNJ. Well, we need to focus. We need to pull certain things back to get the chaos and the dirtiness to be more pleasing to the ear. And that's going to take time. That's going to take listening to the producers that inspire you to make this off-kilter kind of sound and pulling from what they're doing and then putting it into your sound. And that takes a lot of checking of the ego. I know a lot of producers have big egos. It takes a lot of checking of the ego to reference other stuff and then putting it into your sound, creating this blend and then making things more polished. But keep it up, keep grinding, and yeah, keep submitting to the Heat Check. I'll be glad to give you my feedback. So, yep. Yeah, beats, let's see, Pierce and Gladstone. Hella energy, right, Pierce and Gladstone, hella energy. Right, so filtering would help. Yeah, certain parts we could filter. Yeah, we could do different low pass filters and whatnot. So shout out to the chat. The chat is also giving their tips and tricks on YouTube. Once again, TikTok, I apologize. Next stream, I'll be able to see the chat. If you're talking to TikTok, I cannot see you right now, but I wanted to continue to stream so you guys can get some good game. All right, moving forward, we have our second submission of the night from Music on the Beats called Time and Place. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic and we're going to go ahead and take a listen to this beat. So let's go ahead and listen together, family.
Music on the beat.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the second submission of the night by Music on the Beats called Time and Place. Music on the Beats, man, you have a lot of potential. I'm here. One thing that you're really good at that I'm noticing, I believe this is your first two submissions on the heat check, you have a good way of conveying energy. And not everybody's good at that. Some people have good sounding beats. Some people have beats that are easy to write to, but not everybody is good at conveying energy. And I'm noticing that about your beats so far. If you have a certain attitude, you have a way of expressing that musically, which is a really good skill to have. I want to say that you had good drum bounce that help with the energy, that little synthy sample type of thing you had going on. Very interesting, very unique, and I liked it. I'm feeling like an East Coast artist can really get on this beat. Either I'm tripping or there was a bass note that was off when dum dum dum. I kind of felt like you need to watch one of those notes. Dum 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 dum. I think one of those notes we might need to kick it down a semitone. Or yeah, kick it down to semitone. I'm not quite sure if I'm tripping, but I felt like one of those notes were off. So let's watch that, get in your DAW, and when you hear the dum dum dum, play with this, see if you can go down a half step and keep listening to see if it feels better if you push it down a bit more. One of the things that's happening here is it's like, again, I'm hearing like more, it's like cluttering. It's like everything is coming in and the music is just getting cluttered. It almost feels like everything is coming in at the same volume as far as the instrumentation, and we need certain things to be softer in order for things to be more aggressive. We need certain things to be quieter in order for certain other elements to be louder. And the fact that everything just feels like it's coming at me like with so much, it just feels like smothered a little bit. So I've given this advice to a couple of different people so far on this show. So try to find ways to create contrast. Sometimes you have to shelve off a little bit of a sound and pan it left. Sometimes you have to shelve off another sound and pan it right. Sometimes you have to roll off a little bit and do a couple dips in the mid range just to open up more space so you don't have to push the kick up so loud. So these are little mixing tips and tricks that can kind of just help your beat just be a little more dynamic, have a little bit more space, have a little bit more feel. I understand. Excuse me. Understand with these beats, especially with this energy, you're probably in the studio banging on the pads or banging on your keyboard and really feeling the energy. But here's here's kind of a mixing trick. A lot of stuff sounds and feels good loud. So pull your knob down on your audio interface and listen to it at medium volume. Then listen to it at low volume. Then pull it back to medium and then turn it loud. When you put it down to medium and low medium, do you start to notice certain elements kind of feel like you should lower them a little bit? Kind of feel like they should be a little bit softer. You know, try some of those things out just so we can have more of a dynamic, more space in the beat. So we can have the same energy and attitude, but it can just feel more lush and more inviting, if that makes sense. Has a lot of potential. I think an artist would be able to write to this beat, but we just need to correct a couple of those things to really have the best presentation possible. So shout out to you, Music on the Beats. Please continue to submit to the Heat Check. I'll be glad to help you out on your music production journey. All right. Okay, the officials. Shout out to you, the officials. Yeah, look forward to hearing from you. Of course, you know how I do. I'm always going to do my YouTube community post as soon as the stream is over, letting you guys know to submit for next week's Heat Check. So shout out to you. Shout out to you. Yeah, Project Launchpad. Looks like the Heat Check is growing, man. Been doing it for like 5 months now. Yeah, about 5 months now. So yeah, shout out to you guys. And I appreciate that, Pearson Gladstone. And everyone on TikTok who's watching me, who I can't see the chat, please come to YouTube so I can see you in the chat, so I can engage with you. I don't like not being able to engage with the people. So moving forward, we have Neptune Blue. Shout out to you, Neptune Blue, with the track Pharrell Mastered. Okay, so it looks like this track is called Pharrell. We're going to go ahead and play this and give our feedback. So let me go ahead and mute my mic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Neptune Blue with Pharrell Mastered. All right, Neptune Blue. I believe you've been in the chat before. No, I know who you are, Neptune Blue. Why am I saying I believe? I've seen you in the chat before. Neptune Blue. You mentioned that you're doing so, you're working off of a laptop, so it's hard for you to hear like the low end and everything, and that explains why it's like your beats have like this hard scoop. It's like this hard scoop that we're not able to hear like the body of your sounds and stuff. So Neptune Blue, I'm hoping you're able to get an audio interface and some headphones so you can hear your music, so we can stop hearing the hacked off sounds in your music, because you know it's hurting our ability to really feel what's going on. Interface I'm using, just in case you guys are interested, is the SSL2 audio interface. That's what I'm using right now, and when I work with recording artists. And then my headphones, if you guys need some headphones in Neptune Blue, it's the Sony MDR 7506. I've been using these headphones, not these exact pair, but I've been using this brand of headphones essentially my whole career. I've been using this for years. I love them. Okay, so the feedback on this beat, Pharrell. Once again, we can't hear a lot of the body of your instrumental, so it's kind of hard to hear and feel everything. But one of the first things that jumped out to me was the fact that the 808 that you had going on in the beat was off key. So a trick that I give, and I believe one of my Made in the Studio podcast guests also gave the same tip. OG the 3, extremely talented producer. Made in the Studio podcast. Check it out right here on this channel, or also everywhere you can hear podcasts. So one thing you could do is push the 808, transpose it up an octave, listen to it, then transpose it up another octave, listen to it, and try to get it in key when it's a higher pitched sound. That's because the human ear reacts more effectively to higher pitched sounds, and lower pitched sounds, deeper, lower frequency sounds, are harder for the human ear to pick up, especially when we talk about keys. And this is an issue that I had in the beginning as well, so you're not alone. Push it up an octave. It's easier to hear if like a bell or a boo, boo, boo. It's easier to hear if that's in key. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. So then you can get it in key and then place it back in the proper octave, so that way you can hear that it's in key or out of key, because I could hear that it was out of key, and we need to correct that. Also, another thing, I felt like there was so much going on at once. This has been happening. This show is a lot of things has just been happening at once. I don't know what's going on. That we having producers do, like have a bunch of sounds hit us all at once, and it's kind of like, okay, what am I supposed to focus on? Okay, I like how that sounds, and I don't like how that sounds. I like how that sounds, and how that sounds, I don't like how that sounds. So we need to figure out a direction as far as the instrumentation coming together. It's like we had so many different. I had heard like a little, heard this that little drum loop that the Neptunes used to in there, and I heard a lot of different things going on at once. I'm like, okay, let's try to find a focus, because one thing that happens, especially as producers, we can get excited with all the sounds that we have. We just want to be like, okay, let me put this in, let me put that in, and it'll be cool if I added that, and it'll be cool if I added this. But like I say, there's beauty, there's sophistication in simplicity. So try to mute certain sounds and see what you need to keep in the beat to convey the vision that you have for the instrumental. So hopefully that made sense. Also, as the beat went on, the actual full arrangement of the beat, I kind of felt like we kept changing and we kept changing and we kept changing as we went on. And once again, it's like the same thing that was happening happening as far as the composition layers was happening in the actual arrangement as we went through the beat. It's like we kept changing without any real focus in the beat. So this felt like you had a lot of sounds, you got excited, you wanted to put them all together, kind of wanted to show off, but we need to tighten up, find a focus, find a direction, so that way we're not having so much going on. And then as we were going through the beat, there's also no clear arrangement going on. So let's tighten that up. Less is more. Sing to the beat, rap to the beat, so that way you can tell that too much is going on at once. So sometimes you need a human voice to know that so much is going on at once. But shout out to you, Neptune Blue. Shout out to you. All right. Yes. Right. Swiss Beats vibes too. Yeah, you know, that era, that was really like the chord Triton, chord Trinity era. So yeah, definitely. All right, moving forward. Shout out to the chat. The chat is giving out some free games. So producers, if you're out on a date right now, you out chilling with the homies, you're not watching the heat check, make sure you check the live chat for more tips as well. You guys are moving and grooving on a Friday night. You need to be up here learning. All right, moving forward, we have Neptune Blue with another submission for the night called New Boy. So let's go ahead and listen to this track. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic. Then we're going to go ahead and give some feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. And gentlemen, that was Neptune Blue with New Boy. Now, Neptune Blue, I could tell this is much more of your wheelhouse of production. Just your sound selection sounded like you knew where to go to convey what energy with the beat. You knew what sounds would complement, what drum sounds would complement what drum sounds, what instruments would complement what other instruments, and you put it all together in that beat. And I could tell this is much more what you do more frequently musically, just how you selected things. Once again, one of the biggest problems is that all the information, all the sound is just scooped, and I can't really hear anything. I can't hear the thickness of the instruments. I could barely. I heard you added an extra kick throughout a little bit later in the beat, but the main kick I couldn't really hear. I couldn't really feel, and I can tell that the instrumentation choices were good. You had good melody. The bass was in key. You knew what you were doing here, and it's like that. Whatever the laptop issue that you have going on, man, it's just cut. It's just scooped. It's like, and I've used this analogy before. It's like eating some food, and you taste it, and you could taste the seasoning, but it's like I want to taste all the spices and herb. Why they skip out on all the peppers and they just used a little bit. I can tell I want to like it. It's prepared well, but it's the seasoning. I can't taste the seasoning. I can't, because of the scoop off, and it just creates this little bit of frustration in me, because especially with this beat, because I can tell that this was one that was going to be a banger, but eventually we'll get you the headphones and an interface so we can hear the full beat. But yeah, other than that, one thing I was hearing like older T.I. vibes. I kind of felt like this is something like T.I. could have rapped on. It reminds me a bit of that T-Minus era. If you guys know who the producer T-Minus is, did a lot of work for like Drake and Boy Wonder. He did The Moment for Life. And I heard that T-Minus style bass slide, that doo-doo. Really cool sound. I enjoyed that. I kind of feel like we might want to work on the arrangement of the beat, just the structure of the verse and the hook, just so things don't feel a little redundant. I possibly would need to listen to the beat again. Again, I was distracted with the fact that everything was cut off. But yeah, other than that, man, I could tell that this sound is your lane. This is what you're comfortable. You've probably done this a bunch. So hopefully we can hear the full beat eventually once we get you some headphones, man. I want to hear your full production, but it just keeps getting scooped off and it's bothering me. But it is what it is. Continue to cook up, and eventually we'll get your headphones and equipment. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look here at the chat. All right. Shout out to Twitch. All right. And once again, all the TikTokers watching me, please find your way over to YouTube. Desmond A Sounds on YouTube, so I can check you out. I cannot see the chat in TikTok, so please find your way over to YouTube at Desmond A Sounds so I can engage with you. I'm a man of the people. I want to engage with you, so find your way to YouTube. All right, moving forward, we have Dancing Main with No Way Out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to mute my mic and we're going to listen to this submission by Dancing Main. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dancing Maine with No Way Out. Now, Dancing Maine, shout out to you for being so consistent and continue to submit on the heat check. Of course, Dancing Maine, you have your own style. When we hear a Dancing Maine beat, it has your fingerprint on it. We know it's you. We know the vibe. We know the feel that you're gonna give. One piece of advice, and I give it to you every week. You have this subgenre of hip hop kind of vibe, and there's people out there who are looking for their producer. Their producer provides their signature sound, and you've gotten to the point where you have a signature sound consistently. We know what a Dancing Maine beat sounds like, and there's independent artists out there. There's major artists too, but there's independent artists out there who are looking for their producer. So if there's a dancing, it could be John Doe the rapper and Dancing Maine, and y'all create this project. So one of my guests on the Made in the Studio podcast, Tavares Jordan, he produced the hit single for Summer Walker, Heart of a Woman. One of the things that he mentioned during our podcast episode was the fact that he was able to make some good money working with an independent artist named Les from Houston. So before he got to Summer Walker, he worked with Les, who's a independent artist. So your pathway as a music producer doesn't always have to come through the hands of a major placement, a major artist picking your beat somewhere at a studio or through some type of DM. It can come through an independent artist who are looking for their own sound. So Dancing Maine, please, I know you enjoy cooking up beats, but take some of that time. I don't know if you need to just set a timer, get on Instagram, network, go to different music events, network. We need you to package your sound and give it to an independent artist. You have this subgenre, this kind of, always I think of like snow and like kind of a darkness kind of feel every time I hear your beats. So please find that artist who's gonna want a Dancing Maine project, but you have to make the effort. Other than that, I felt like, and this is another piece of advice I give you every week, the 808, let's take off some of that distortion. It's just a little bit too much. Let's just take that distortion off of that 808 just a little bit. We don't need that much. Also, I felt like the 808 was a bit detuned. It sounded like, it didn't sound totally out of key. It could have been the 808 that you selected, had a natural detune to it. Sometimes producers use like different tape wobbles and things like that that give it a slight detune. So you can either select a different 808 or you can use the knob on your DAW to just change things a couple cents. Just move it a little bit. Does it feel better? Move it a little bit down. Does it feel better? Try to get it a little bit more in key. Other than that, strong Dancing Maine beat. We know it's going to be experimental. We know it's going to have this bounce to it. Just keep cooking up, man. Keep cooking up. Keep doing your experimental thing and keep submitting to the heat check. I'll be glad to provide you more advice. All right. Second submission of the day by Dancing Maine. We have Lust Will Get Me One Day. With these names, man. You've been tamed with the names, Dancing Maine. Now we got Lust Will Get Me One Day. Before we play this beat, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check out my Discord. Once again, link in the description. If you're on YouTube, also go to Desmond A Sounds if you want free FL Studio patcher plugins. They are fire, man. I'm telling you, I have this one right here. I should have shouted this out a little bit earlier, man, but I have this one right here called FL Super Clipper, which is crushing the real clipper. Image line, you want to go plugin for plugin? Let's do my Super Clipper versus your soft clipper. Let's see what the people choose. I'm going to put my money on the Super Clipper every day. So, ladies and gentlemen, go to DesmondASounds.com. Get the Super Clipper. It is fire, and it is free. And I still kick myself for making it free because I should have charged you guys for it because it's that good. But it's too late. All right. Dancing Main, Lust Will Get Me One Day. We're going to go ahead and check this beat out. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic. Then we're going to give our feedback. So let's take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dancing Main with Lust Will Get Me One Day. Now, Dancing Main, I see you starting to explore a little bit. It's not all experimental and, you know, ethereal and dark and atmospheric. It's you fell in love, man. Let me find out that you fell in love. You found your Tinder match. And she'd have made you all soft. You know what I'm saying? Dancing Man gonna start making romance, R&B. You know, did that happen, Dancing Man? I don't know. Looking at the title, Lust Will Get Me One Day. I don't know, man. Now I'm messing with you. Dancing Man, I see you incorporated that R&B sample. Sound like you added that lead on there too. I'm digging that. One thing that I'm hearing though is I'm hearing that your kick patterns, it sounds like they're relatively the same. Don't be afraid to experiment. You know, we have this R&B beat and you still have like that hard kind of stiffer underground hip hop kind of vibes. Like, you know, don't be afraid to just try something different. Try a different bounce. Try a different groove with the kick. Maybe even try a snap, you know. Everything doesn't have to have those same hard hip hop elements whenever you're exploring this type of R&B style feel. The energy is R&B, has R&B feel, and then we have those harder drums. Sometimes that can create a good contrast, but in this case, it kind of felt like you felt comfortable doing it, so you went with it as opposed to experimenting and maybe taking it all the way there, trying a different bounce, different kick bounce, different snare selection, different 808. You had the same buzzy, distorted 808. You know, if you're gonna step out the box and do some R&B, you know, we can go a little bit. We can go all the way there. So don't be afraid to experiment a bit more when you're exploring different genres. Dancing Main, everything doesn't have to fit that same Dancing Main format. Just try different stuff is what I'm saying. But yeah, you know, good feel, good vibe, and yeah, I want a different bounce, I want a different groove from you. So especially again R&B, I am more partial to R&B. So yeah, shout out to you, Dancing Main. Appreciate you for submitting on tonight's Heat Check. Had a very full show tonight, man. Shout out to all the producers who submitted, all the producers in the chat who gave their feedback. I can't do it without you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Everyone checking me out on Twitch, also TikTok. Next time, TikTok, I'm gonna make sure the chat works so I can actually see what's going on. I know it's frustrating communicating with someone and they can't communicate back. I apologize. I'll do better next time. But this is primarily a YouTube show. But I do apologize. That's all me. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you next Friday. Another heat check, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I will be here. The forum is going to open in, give me about 10 minutes. I'm going to make the YouTube community post so you guys can submit for the heat check for next Friday's show. Make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com to get your free loops, free FL Studio Patcher plugins, and free guides. I have 7 steps to a better sounding beat mix, have one on sampling, and I have one on Pro Tools, all handmade by myself. Just giving more game to the music production community. Also, make sure you like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hey guys, thank you so much for another great heat check show. I will see you guys next Friday. Look out for the YouTube community post to submit. Everybody stay safe. I'll see you next Friday. Peace.